How's it going, everybody? After a long week away, I'm excited to be back and kind of checking in on the state of things here on the channel. And more importantly, I think today we're just going to be talking about the kind of latest updates to the game. So we're kind of merging the last two streams together when we're talking about this. Also some time in between. The focus the last little bit has been the development of dialogue in the project. It started to kind of show its head pretty early on, as we needed a kind of vessel for storytelling in the game. We added some NPCs, we started doing some art, so it made sense that we needed to add some dialogue. And overall, I think that it was really fun, and it ended up being very successful. Our initial implementation was just a kind of like, it was just like an array-based implementation where we were essentially just using inputs and events to kind of facilitate the advancement through the array, and we were accessing, various different properties for speakers and kind of content of the text on the screen using the index of that kind of conversation as we moved through it. This was really simple. This implementation is pretty similar, at least in my head, to like the old Pokemon games. The user isn't contributing to the dialogue in this kind of a system. They're just kind of, reading it as it appears on the screen, or otherwise skipping through it. I think that's, important in those kinds of systems too. But either way, it was nothing too crazy. We knocked that out on not the last stream, but the one before that. And I felt pretty good about things. We were able to talk to the different NPCs. They had different dialogue, different names, and all was good there. The kind of next step of this, though, was building that dialogue into something a little more interesting. The kind of core functionality that we built on stream was great, but it was very simple, and it kind of left a lot to be desired. So off stream, I started experimenting with like proper conversation trees, and I arrived at an implementation I was pretty happy with after like 2 afternoons of kind of messing around after class. And the gist of this was pretty simple. It was all kind of based around this core dialogue object class, and we essentially constructed a tree of them. Each one was kind of like, it was an object that had a name and a message attached to it, but it also had 3 pointers to 3 more conversation, dialogue objects. And so by populating these with references to other nodes in the conversation, you're able to kind of create, this branching conversation tree where different dialogue options will take you to different outcomes of the conversation. And I was really happy with this. Once I got it working, I was pretty stoked, and I was honestly very excited to hop back on stream and kind of cobble this all together, throw things kind of into the game. Unfortunately, that's not really how things happened. I don't know. I didn't know it at the time, but I was starting to get sick, and so I was feeling really kind of brain foggy. I was pretty tired on top of that too, and I was just feeling really just a lack of motivation to keep the stream going and kind of work on really anything. It did kind of eventually lead to a more important discussion about kind of the state of the project, my interest in the project, and kind of, the fear for an eventual burnout here. I think that that's a good segue into, kind of future plans and what we're going to be doing on the next couple of streams here. I think I want to start pivoting to working on a new project, but not even just one new project. I think that I want to kind of remind both myself and kind of everyone of the original goal of the game dev streams, to make a bunch of kind of small scoped little projects that span a couple of weeks. I like this plan. This was the original plan, and it's kind of what I thought we were doing with this game, but I don't know. The last couple of streams, it became very clear to me that this is like scoping out very quickly. It's becoming a much bigger project than I kind of initially anticipated or expected. And so this isn't me saying that I want to leave it behind and never come back to it, but at least for the time being, I think I want to go back to that original goal of kind of curating, a little vibe for a game for a couple of streams, kind of start to finish. We get, a big feature done each stream, and then we have a small game after, 2 or 3 weeks. This project is well over a month into its lifespan now, and I haven't gotten to stream as much as I've wanted to, but it's just there's a lot of ground to cover. All of the ideas here are much bigger than I was kind of initially anticipating. And so I think that's going to be the kind of pivot. The goal is going to be to make little games that are fun for you guys to play in the end, but also to still be able to contribute your ideas and have fun in the streams while we build these games. And for anyone who, you know, likes this project that we're working on now, it's not goodbye forever. I think that I'll definitely come back to this idea. We have a lot of really, really great stuff in there, and I think that was kind of the realization that I made. You know, this project is cool. I just don't want it to become too synonymous with what game dev on the channel is, because truthfully, like, it's a project that I enjoy. I'm somewhat passionate about it in some ways, but right now it's not something that I want to be working on every day, and honestly I don't even know if I want to be working on it every couple of days. And so I don't want to burn out and turn this project that is currently something, you know, really nice for the channel into some kind of a burden or a weird situation. That's kind of my thoughts on that, and exactly what that's going to look like, I'm not positive, right? I think that maybe the next stream we might open this project back up. I'm not sure. I kind of want to put a little bit of a bow on it, maybe not for the entire stream, but we can kind of put it to rest for a while, maybe leave some post-mortem documents for when we pick it back up, and then yeah, I want to start a new project, and for this one I would like to stick to the kind of usual 1 or 2 streams a week, but I want to work on it more in between streams, so that way we're still making more progress each week. Even if the timeline ends up being more condensed and not as much of the development ends up on stream, those videos, you know, I can still work on those during the development process, and we can kind of get a backlog of stuff going there, so you guys can still see all of the implementations and kind of learn some things about Godot from those. Ultimately, I just think this will be more fun, at least for me, for the time being, as long as this is something you guys are cool with. Obviously, if there's riots in the streets, then, you know, we can talk about it, we can figure something else out. But I've got a lot on my plate with school, and I'm still really enjoying, you know, working on the channel here, but I just have to make sure that I'm kind of finding good middle grounds between, you know, my professional obligations, my educational obligations, and, you know, my free time, my personal obligation, stuff like that. You know, this channel is something I'm doing for fun, but at the same time it's something I'm very passionate about, and I just, you know, want to see it grow, want to see it thrive. So I don't know, I think I rambled for a little bit, but I think it was good to talk about this all kind of here. And yeah, I don't know, I mean, I don't have too much more to say about that. I guess we can kind of recap everything. So we built Dialog in 2 forms. Initially, it was a very simple array-based implementation, you know, input events, progress, and index, and that index progresses a speaker and a text object. That was pretty good, but it wasn't exactly enough for kind of what I was thinking, the direction we were going in. So we built some dialogue trees, and trying to implement those dialogue trees actually in the game made me realize that I want to work on something else for a while. Definitely an unexpected series of events, but that's kind of here where we are. So yeah, I mean, with all that out of the way, I didn't want to do all this like at the beginning of the video, because, you know, there's a decent number of you guys that are new here and have no idea what is going on with me or who I am. So now's the part of the video where I just kind of thank you guys for your patience and apologize for the later upload this week. As I mentioned earlier, I kind of got sick towards the end of last week into the beginning of this week, and that threw a wrench in kind of my early plans. Class was kind of crazy this week, and then on top of that there was a, you know, lapse in the availability of my internet, and so for the last day or 2 I was kind of staying mobile, trying to keep a connection. And so now that everything is all said and done, it's here later in the week, I have time to kind of just take a deep breath and do the things that I want to do and talk about the things that I'm passionate about. So I appreciate you guys for taking some time to check in on another Godot devlog update, and I hope that you guys are excited like I am for the future of the streams and the future of the devlogs. I think it's going to give me an opportunity to explore more stuff and implement more kind of diverse sorts of things, and I think for that same reason it will hopefully still continue to be cool and fun for you guys. I think we'll just get to see a lot more together, and I think that's going to be really cool. Outside of the Godot stuff, I'm really excited for next week. My ThinkPad video last week was something I was super excited about, and we are definitely queued up for another one next week. I have been very busy, honestly, kind of double dipping, making sure that I've had time to work on the ThinkPad whilst I've been doing other things. I have gone down quite the rabbit hole. I'm not going to talk about that forever today, but I am excited to get into it sometime next week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, keep an eye out on your notifications this weekend. We might be going live doing some Godot stuff, kind of getting things kicked off. I actually think that I'm starting a job here soon where I'll be working in Godot, so I'm excited for that. Hopefully that contributes something to the quality of the streams. Whether you're new here or whether you are a seasoned Schweem team veteran at this point, I appreciate you for taking some time to catch up with me, the stream game, and kind of the state of the channel today. Look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thanks for stopping by.